Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Kelley Kahn. I'm with the City of Oakland. I'm the lone government official on the panel, but great company. And I'm an urban planner, urban designer by training. My career has morphed over the years, and now I'm really charged with working on several key economic development initiatives for the City of Oakland. And what that means is really, I spend a lot of time thinking about how to grow the tax base in Oakland, bring investment to Oakland, so that we have more funding for basic services, longer library hours, park maintenance, programming at our rec centers for young people and the people who live in Oakland. And as an urban planner, I really want to do this kind of work always with the lens of how do we preserve what is so great about Oakland, and actually what drew me to this job. I'm a longtime Oakland resident, but I have been working in San Francisco for the last 8 years, and I've been now at the City of Oakland for about a year. And the reason I wanted to come here is probably the reason Vator wanted to come here, and a lot of people are coming, which is that there's something really special and unique happening in Oakland, and I want to explore it. As the first one up here, I just wanted to say how excited we are to have Vator Splash in Oakland, and acknowledge how much Vator has really embraced Oakland and celebrated Oakland, and it feels so good to sort of be seen, to have what we know is so terrific about Oakland be seen by the Vator organizers, so thank you. So I think I want to step back a little bit and just talk about what I think a lot of us already know. But this question of why Oakland? Why is Oakland sort of so ripe to grow a tech industry here? And I wanted to sort of make a point that in Oakland, the tech industry is definitely an emerging industry. It hasn't fully arrived yet, although I feel like in the last few weeks, things might be changing. And we do have a large number of tech companies here, Pandora, Sungevity, who I sort of throw in the mix, Ask.coms, and day by day we have a ton of new startups. But it's still, when you look at the numbers, it's only still about 2.5% of our workforce are jobs in tech. And that number is probably changing day by day, and it's hard to get a real grasp on, but that's a fairly small percent of our workforce. That's compared to about 8% in San Francisco, still small, but in real numbers, that's quite a lot more jobs in San Francisco in tech. But Oakland is ripe for growth in this sector. And I think a lot of us know the reasons, but one of the most interesting trends, or at least trends to me as an urban planner, is that we're seeing these real changes in the workforce, that today's workforce, the millennials, are urbanists, right? They are choosing cities. They're choosing cities because of the diversity of experiences, the diversity of people. They're choosing this sort of city life, the sense of discovery that comes with that, the richness and vibrancy on our streets over these slightly more sterile suburban landscapes where the tech industry has traditionally been housed in big industrial sort of campuses, seas of parking around them. It's a very different way and place to work than places like San Francisco and Oakland. And one of the reasons that I think this city life is such a draw and is so important to the tech industry in particular is that kind of sort of creativity really breeds more innovation, and it allows for spontaneous interactions, exposure to new ideas, just maybe on your lunch hour or before work or after work. And this is exactly what Oakland offers, right? Art and vibrancy and authenticity. And what the other amazing thing about Oakland is that we have people doing creative work across disciplines, not just in tech, but the arts and in food and biotech, solar, public health. We have a huge nonprofit sector doing really creative work around poverty and youth and community financing. We have some of the preeminent thinkers about how you keep wealth local in an economy, about community IPOs. Kiva Zip has a presence here. And so much of the work is really driven by, I think, a sense of responsibility and community. And that's very Oakland, I think, very Oakland. Another trend that is quite interesting is that these workers want to live where they work, and they don't want to be auto-dependent, and they want to be places where they can bike and take transit and walk. And for the first time, we're seeing car ownership rates decrease among people ages 16 to 34. So that moment when I turned 16 and the very first thing I did was go to the DMV, that's changing. People are putting this off and off and off. And they're getting their, and they're sort of, I think, this real movement of rejecting these auto-dominated lifestyles. And this also has to do, I think, the social conscious and this sense of wanting to have a more sustainable lifestyle, and cities offer that. And this implication and what it adds up to for Oakland is that I think for the first time, companies are beginning to follow workers, so that the talent is starting to drive locational decisions, and workers are starting to choose quality places like Oakland. And then you layer on Oakland's financial accessibility, which we all talk about, that the commercial rents are half here what they are in San Francisco, and housing costs also almost half still. And this allows people who come to Oakland to take risks, to be innovative, to be creative, and still have a decent quality of life. And this is really important. Boy, I haven't even got to my vision yet. I'm so busy touting Oakland that. So anyway, so what does a sort of a diverse and inclusive ecosystem look like around tech in Oakland? And I think the story of Oakland tech is already sort of manifesting itself. I think that vision is already manifesting itself, that we're seeing a high number of mission-driven and values-driven companies choosing to start their companies in Oakland and grow here. These are companies like Mind Blown Labs that create games for teaching personal finance, Sleek Geek, the Immunity Project, which is looking for using crowdfunding tools to support solutions to HIV. And a lot of these companies are started by men and women of color. And then we also see a very robust network of nonprofits working in a space to create a more inclusive tech industry. So linking young people to jobs, teaching tech skills. A lot of these are funded by the city, by the Kapor Foundation, Hack the Hood, Susan Mernitz's group. And then the maker and art scene, the artist scene here, is really important to our ecosystem, not just because they sort of fuel the creative spirit, but these artists are using and creating new technologies around 3D printers and robotics. And so making sure that we maintain space, affordable space, industrial space for these people through our land use decisions is really key. So I want to sort of end on, I think, what the city's role in all of this is to create this more equitable ecosystem. And I think if we don't want to see what is so special about Oakland, its diversity, its ability to be a creative person here, eroded by unequal access to jobs and to housing. So first, I think the city needs to be a real leader in connecting people and residents to the infrastructure that is out there, that is getting more and more vivid by the day. So working with the Oakland Unified School District to link companies with internships, linking teachers to externships, where they get to go and be in companies and learn cutting edge technologies that they can be back into the classroom and inspire their students. I think the next, though, major thing that I think the city has to do, and this is not the responsibility of the tech industry, is really put forth a progressive housing policy to make sure that the people who live here are protected and have access to housing that's affordable and of a high quality. And there's real pressure forming around our housing market right now in Oakland. Vacancy rates are very low, rents are going up. But yet there are only about 160 market rate units under construction right now in Oakland compared to thousands in San Francisco. The good news is there's 800 units of affordable housing under construction. But there needs to be sort of a proactive, aggressive policy around getting more housing developed. And the city is doing this. We're trying to streamline the development process so we can get more housing built to stabilize the demand and get the rents under control. We also have to be a leader in finding new sources to fund affordable housing. With the loss of redevelopment, one of the major engines for getting affordable housing built is gone, and that's a huge loss. And the city is actually already one of the first cities to say, well, what little money we do have left from redevelopment, we're putting into affordable housing. So we do have a fund, and that's how some of those units are getting built. And also tightening up those rent control laws, which our city council has already taken. And then finally, and I will end here, and just in the spirit of getting as aspirational as possible, I'd love to see a regional collaboration around changing Prop 13, so cities aren't so strapped for cash to pay for the basic services, which is at the root of so many problems. And that would just help local governments be better equipped and empowered to solve these kinds of problems. That's sort of a conversation for a different day, but I'll end there, and thank you so much for letting me share these thoughts.